Hey, good morning to you. Welcome back to Morning Live. A final look now at your sport news for today. Now, the Trek4Mandela is an annual expedition where a group of esteemed individuals attempt to reach the highest peak in Africa. Now, the 2024 expedition will encompass summiting Mount Kilimanjaro through all 6 routes, with each route symbolizing a color of the South African flag. And to talk to us about the 2024 Unity in Diversity climb, centered around 30 years of democracy, we've roped in none other than our very own colleague here at SABC News, Simphiwe Ncongwane. Simphiwe, good morning to you.
Well, good morning to you. How are you?
Is it interesting for you to be on the other side?
It actually feels so weird being on this chair when I'm used to sitting on that chair that you're sitting.
And you've asked a lot of questions about what will happen. Let's talk about this climb for you. First of all, talk to me about what made you want to do this.
You know, we see where so much is being said about gender-based violence against women and the girl child, and the kind of strides that we've made to counter this scourge are quite commendable, even though we can do much better. But we really have come a long way in terms of fighting this scourge. But unfortunately, not much is being said about menstrual hygiene or the lack thereof, and especially for those girls who do not have access to, sanitary pads.
Yes.
And this initiative, Trek4Mandela, seeks to counter that. So I took it upon myself, to play a part and just help in restoring dignity for those girls who lose up to 50 days of school days every single year because of menstrual challenges. So helping a girl have access to sanitary pads, really goes a long way in terms of their mental well-being, their health and dignity. And it really is very, very crucial in terms of restoring their dignity.
I love that you say that, and it's really commendable that you're doing this. And we know climbing Mount Kilimanjaro is not easy. Leanne telling us that, of course, she did the same Trek4Mandela in 2015. So how are you looking in terms of your preparations? How are you feeling? Because it's just a couple of days away where you get to summit the mountain. How are you feeling? How have your preparations been physically? I see you've also lost some weight. Talk to me about that.
You can never be ready for this. You can never be ready for this. Even the experienced climbers, I've been speaking to Sbusiso Vilana, remember him, the first African guy to summit Mount Everest. He says that he's been summiting for the past 37, he summited 37 times, and this year will be his 38th. And I also spoke to the CEO of Imbumba Foundation, Richard Mabaso, who says that he summited 8 times. But they can never be ready. You can never get used to this because every single expedition is a totally different experience altogether. And the approach to each expedition is different. And yeah, I took about 7 months training for this. And as you can see, I've lost so much weight because I've taken to the open road. I run for like 12 kilometers every day for 4 days a week. And yeah,
so
I know.
You
Look at you
run
frowning.
48 kilometers a week?
No. I run 4 days a week. I run for 12 kilometers, but then I've since stopped because of the cold. And then I've put in extra work at the gym. And then the Westcliff stairs, I'm sure you've been seeing visuals of me training there. That is so gruesome. Those Westcliff stairs, about 210 steps in total. It looks nothing, but but the first lap, that's where you feel that you actually are doing something. But I really have put in so much work in terms of getting ready and just building strength and endurance.
So at this point, you're happy and you're comfortable with where you are physically ahead of your climb, having put in all of this work.
You can never be 100% ready, but I think I am happy and I think I'm ready to tackle it.
So we speak about the Westcliff stairs. You've told us about that. Have you been to other parts of the country in preparing for what you're likely going to experience summiting the mountain?
It's quite interesting that you say that. When I told Leanne, our colleague, that I want to summit Mount Kilimanjaro because she summited in 2015, so I just wanted to get tips and advice from her. The first thing that she said to me was, Simphiwe, the biggest decision you ever had to make was the decision to do it. And for me, that really struck a chord because it doesn't really matter how far you go in this journey because not everybody summits Kilimanjaro. Some, they go up the mountain and then they turn back without summiting for different reasons, of course. But the most important thing is they did it. They took the decision. They stood up to help a soul that really needs their assistance. So we've been to the Drakensberg mountain in KZN, which is the highest peak in South Africa. And yeah, that was the worst experience for me. Absolute
Tell us why.
Worst. You know why? Because it was pouring throughout because we had to hike for like 8 hours and it was pouring throughout. There was a break of like an hour. It stopped raining for like an hour. We had a bit of a break, but then it poured right through. And the topography and the terrain was absolutely diabolical, Visiwe, because it was rocky, it was slippery, and I don't know how many times we fell. It was the worst experience, but positive in the sense that it built endurance, it built character. The very same character and endurance that we're going to need at Mount Kilimanjaro. And some of us who were part of the team, they decided, if Kilimanjaro is worse than this, Andizi.
Andizi, we're not even getting there. We don't even want to find out.
But, much love and respect to them for having taken the initiative to help out a life, even though they didn't go out and do it. But they did, in fact, ensure that life out there is being saved and the dignity of young underprivileged girls out there has been restored. And for some of us, Drakensberg was like a barometer to see if we are ready for Kilimanjaro and whether we're going or not. And here we are. We're moving on.
And I mean, you speak about the difficulty of just Drakensberg Mountain. Let's give some context for our viewers at home, because even climbing up to something such as base camp is not that easy. And when you look at Mount Kilimanjaro, I mean, you look at the base camp then where you're going to have to start your climb. Yeah. Speak to me about that as well.
All right, I'm going to start with where we're going to start. So the journey starts at the OR Tambo Airport. We're going to leave this coming Saturday on the 13th of July. We're going to make a stop in Kenya, and then we're going to proceed to Tanzania. Then on Sunday, the 14th, that's when the trek starts. So we're going to start at the Marangi Gate, and we're going to proceed. We're going to walk for like 3 days and 3 nights up the mountain. Of course, there's camps in different parts of the mountain where you're going to freshen up and sleep. But we will take about, I'm told, 8 to 9 hours. And we're going to be walking for like 10 to 15 kilometers. I know you're probably thinking you can do 15 kilometers in 2 hours, but hey, yes, this is a mountain you're talking about here. And we are required to walk absolutely slowly. Because, you know, a mountain like Kilimanjaro, every step you take, you get an altitude.
Yes.
So the body has to acclimatize to the higher altitude. And it takes a bit of time for the body to acclimatize to the higher altitude. Hence, we must walk very, very slowly. And there is a pace setter who is walking ahead of the group, you know, just sort of to set the pace for us so that we don't walk fast. Because if you walk past him, then you're walking fast and he's going to calm you down. So it really is a very challenging experience because the temperatures obviously are going to be freezing. And on summit night, we will leave the camp at 12 midnight, and then we're going to walk all night for like 8 to 9 hours in the still of the night, in freezing temperatures, up until we summit on the 18th of July on Mandela Day.
Well, Sims, we wish you all the best, good luck, and once again, thank you so much for taking it upon yourself to make a difference for the young girl child.
Well, thank you, and it's a challenge to you and Sakina that you're doing it next year.
Really?
Yeah, because
you see, CD Music is up. This is when we will wrap up the interview because we have unfortunately run out of time. Sakina Kamwendo, a challenge has been put up to us. I don't know whether or not we will live up to this challenge, but thank you so much, Sims, and we wish you all the best. Simphiwe Ncongwane will, of course, be summiting Mount Kilimanjaro. It's all about Trek4Mandela, looking back and celebrating 30 years of democracy, but more than that, looking to help out the girl child that is struggling. Of course, he spoke about the Sanitary Drive initiative as well. That's the note in which we wrap up your sport news for today. Let's bring you your morning headlines for the final time.